All right. Welcome to this episode of Warrior Week, Parables from the Pit. We are coming live to you from the studio, and from for those of you that are watching this right now on YouTube or anywhere else, at this moment you are seeing simply our head because we could not fix the zoom problem on the camera. The question is that true, Jesse?
Right now it is true, yes.
Yes, absolutely fucking true. So, which is the topic of the day today, is that truth, it's something that evolves. Like what's true today is not necessarily true tomorrow for you or for me. And your truth, my truth, they evolve as we evolve. There's a common truth that we could all be attached to. And the conversation of today is basically, what are the fears? What are the fears? What is this pain of fear that is causing this gap between us and the truth, which forces us ultimately to lie? So, sit down, relax, and enjoy the show as we talk about.
That's who you are!
All right, we are back. So, Jesse, we talk about our truth being something that changes constantly, and fear between the truth and us causes us as men to lie. There's a particular scenario with one of our brothers where, and you and I were talking about that, and we kind of know this case, and it's been going on for a while, is that like it's the man is living a lie in order to get what he wants. At least that's what he thinks, right? So
Right.
he's pretending to entertain a relationship that does not serve him anymore in order to get closer to his kids. And as a result of that, he's risking to lose a valuable relationship in his life by another woman. And inside of that, living in this lie doesn't really serve anyone. Doesn't like what do you see in this particular situation, the particular case? One of the cases from the pit, from one of our guys inside of Warrior Week, which is, hey man, I'm stuck in this place of lies.
Yeah, I think the thing he was after, in all of this was he wants a relationship with his kids. Like that's the most important thing to him. But in the process of doing this, he's lying to his kids. He's lying to these two women in his life. And the most important person that he's lying to is the man in the mirror every fucking day.
So let's take this example, right? So we have this guy that has a current version of the truth that he wants to get into. The truth is, here's the truth. I want to be close with my kids.
Right.
And then there is a fear between him and the truth. And the more he acknowledges this fear, the more this fear has power over him. So much to force him to actually pretend that he's dating the mother of these kids that he's been divorced to for so many years in order to get close to the kids.
Yeah, so he's basically told himself a lie that said, hey, if you're honest or you tell the truth with your kids and with, the woman you don't want to be with, that you won't be able to see your kids.
Yes.
And so he's lived this truth because this is what his truth is. When it's a fucking lie, but he doesn't see it because he's trapped into it. So he's manipulated his mind to say, listen, well, if I'm truthful and honest, then I don't get to see my kids. But when I lie and manipulate, I actually do get to see them. So
if we're to look at this, where does this fear shows up for a modern man in a situation like this, right? We're not talking about as a fear as a concept, psychology, none of that shit. We're talking about a real fucking man, right? We got this guy, he has a couple of kids. The kids are growing up. The kids have kind of difficult relationship. There's the mother of the kids that is divorced with this guy, and she's kind of like manipulating the kids against him. He's in a relationship with a person that is loving and is supporting. And inside of all this mixture of feelings, a 45 or 46-year-old man is forced to act like a fucking toddler and lie and behave like a fucking clown in between all these people in this circus? What is the paralyzing fear from your perspective that causes him to become a fucking clown?
It's I think fears are driven by lack of not having like kids, not having, costing him more money. Like there's all scenarios of like, hey, I won't see my kids if I'm truthful. If I'm honest, it's going to cost me more money. So the drivers behind a lot of it, like to me, are like there's money. Then there's this fear of lack or loss. Whether you're losing money, whether you're losing a relationship, there's this fear of if I do this, then I lose this.
Yes.
And so when we get put in that scenario, what ends up happening is we continue to lie. So it begins to be this web of lies we get caught in, and we just can't get out. We have no fucking way out.
Yeah, I agree. Like, dude, in this particular scenario, like, fear is one thing, but the lack of what you mentioned, lack of like real relationship that is based on love. Like, dude, you don't have to fucking manipulate. These are grown ass kids.
Yeah.
If the foundation of that relationship is love, then that should be fine and solid by itself. But the foundation is not there. So even if you see them, it's some kind of a fucking false lift.
Right.
They're getting what they want from you. You think you're getting what they want from them, which is basically just seeing them. And maybe that's just good enough for a father sometimes, right? Maybe it's like, dude, like, I just want to fucking see them, even if they fucking hate me, right?
Right.
And I get that part, but you're not doing anything to build and come out of that fucking pit.
Yeah, I mean, you're digging it deeper. Yeah. And, like we talked about, is like there's the web of lies that when you get trapped into them, it's almost impossible to get the fuck out. So, in this situation, I think the intention was, it was like, hey, I want to see my kids, but what happens when intention comes from a lie is it turns into manipulation.
True, so true.
And instead of being honest and real about what I want, now I'm actually manipulating what I want.
Everybody manipulating.
Yeah.
Even to a point of, to some extent, it's fucked up, but he is manipulating the kids to get what he wants, which is, hey, I want to spend some time. Like, it's a fucked up cycle when you think about it. And most people sit down and say, well, if it takes manipulation for him to see his kids, maybe it's worth it. No, because at the end of the day, they feel it, right? They feel that it's bullshit. So this relationship, like the love that he's looking for at the end of the day, it's never going to get cultivated in that environment.
No.
Like, how do you cultivate love in an environment of manipulation?
You don't. You cultivate a false love that, I mean, it gets broken quick and it's over. Like, his kids are going to, they're going to leave him. He's going to be lonely if he doesn't fucking shift out of this mess.
One of the possibilities to shift is to, like, totally leave this fucking pit. Like,
Yeah.
release yourself from the web of lies, and there's going to be a price for that, right? There's always a price. And the price could be like, hey, man, you may not see your kids for a while. Not because you don't want to, but they don't want to fucking see you. Because if they truly want to see you, they'll knock at your door. They're older. They're not just young kids. And they're adults, actually, right? So these adult kids, if you want, they totally have the power to come and reconnect with you if they want to. And sometimes maybe the void and the gap is what it takes.
Yeah.
For one to recognize that, okay, like, he's been knocking on my door and I've been knocking him off every time he knocks at the door. And I just got what I wanted from him, which was money or whatever that case might be in this case. So the fear can also paralyze us, not only to stay in the pit, but you say it empowers us to dig further. It's like it gives us the tools in order to dig even deeper. So there's power of fear, and there is like the fact that we're paralyzed.
Yeah, I think the power in the fear is fear of the loss. And that empowers us, or gives us this power, this fear power that eventually fucking paralyzes us. And then we're like, if you've ever seen a web of a spider,
Yeah.
you'll see when it gets caught in there, like a bug or something, it's like fucking tied down. It can't move.
Yes.
So the fear, the power we give to fear turns us into like that insect that's all of a sudden tied up and is paralyzed and can't move up, down, whatever. And the only thing that keeps happening is when I keep lying, I keep tying myself in a tighter web that I just can't fucking get out of.
And in life, when you're caught up in a web like that, as an adult man, when you're actually caught up in a web of lie, and like, dude, there is no fucking way out, and the spider is coming after you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's precisely the feeling of being fucking alone.
Right.
That's being alone in the dark, in the night, with no fucking light that you can turn on. But although it starts with one light, you can cut one of the web, one string at a time, and one string. And sometimes you may actually require help from the outside. Like guys that are coming in and actually like putting a finger through that web, and like now you're becoming free much faster than if you would have done it by yourself one by one.
Right.
Not that you cannot do it, but ultimately that is like you're not going to avoid that because the spider is fucking coming. How fast you want to get out of that web in order to free yourself is up to you. And in this case, it's like the more he's going to do this, like, dude, it's coming. Like, it's going to blow up. He's going to lose, to your point that we were talking, he's going to lose everyone.
Yeah, he's going to lose what he actually wants. And, you know, he's going to lose his kids. He's going to lose the women in his life that fucking matter because he is trapped in this web of lies. So the way out of this web of lies is, yes, like a lot of times just having someone there to mirror back what I'm saying. I recognize and I become aware, fuck, I am telling lies.
Yes.
And these lies, like his words were like, I didn't know I was manipulating. Which to an extent I believe, but if you continue to do it, then you become the manipulator and you know you're doing it.
Yes.
It's just unconscious.
Yes.
And you get good at it. And when you get good at it, you don't know what you're fucking doing. And then all of a sudden one day you're paralyzed and you can't move.
And the only thing that, like, your guidance truly becomes your counselors, if you want, your counselor, your boardroom members, the people that are going to fucking be your advisors, truly your assumptions and your justification. Like, you assume that, okay, I'm not manipulating. And if you feel that you are, you somehow justify it. Oh, well, I'm doing it because of my kids.
Yeah.
And in that circle, there's no, like, in that loop, there's no escape. So as long as your ego says, hey, justify your assumption for me, bitch, that's what the ego is saying.
Yeah.
And you keep doing it. So inside of this conversation, acknowledging the fear of what we have. Like, I remember one of the questions in one of the trainings I went, it was like the guy has all of us lined up and is like, hey, what's your biggest fear? And I'm like, shit. So I tell him what my biggest fear is, which is my biggest fear is to lose my wife and my kids. That would be like, he goes, that is exactly your why, which made total sense. The biggest fear that I have, I can fuel from that and I can use it as my why versus acknowledging the fear and giving it into it from a weakness perspective.
And giving it power.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so our biggest fear is fear of loss.
Yeah. The end.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, what the fuck? Like, there's nothing, like, we don't want to lose what we want or what we have.
Right.
Both of them. Because losing what you have is painful. Losing what you want, it now seems the end of the fucking road. Like, this is what I want. They say you don't always get what you want, right? That's what they said. But if you truly want it, right, you have zero attachment from it, so you no longer need it. It should be like you don't get what you need, but you do get what you want.
Yeah, you get what you fucking earn.
Yes. So we every week we come to you with a conversation around the pain of a modern man, right? This pain of the modern man that we dig inside of a pit at Warrior Week, which over 20, 30 guys come in every month inside of this experience called Warrior Week. And in the pit, the darkest and the deepest pain are actually revealed. And in that revelation, there's the first step through the liberation. And in that revelation, we act only as messengers to bring this in a conversation, and from a podcast perspective, from a broadcasting perspective. And one of the ways we do that is towards this back and forth exchange of the pain of the guys that we both felt, and we know exactly who these guys are. We don't need to name people, but we bring their stories here for you guys in the show, and we share these, and they're all linked to a pain. And there's going to be a series of pain that we're going to go into in the next 70 or 80 shows, which is like the top 100 pain that a modern man gets to live, not from our perspective, not from shit that we came up with, but actual stories of men that bring those pain. And we all live, dude, we can say I have pain this and this and that. It's just because if you start saying that you only have pain in 1, 2, 3, 4 areas and that's it, it's because you haven't given yourself permission to explore. Dude, we find out more and more pain inside of our lives every day through what we do and through what we see. So like there's no fucking finish line in this.
Yeah, when you hear other people's pain, it makes you want to explore a deeper pain in you.
Yes.
And so, a lot of times when we go through Warrior Week, we hear these guys' pains, or when we experience this with them, it's almost like a check-in with ourselves. Is like, shit, am I feeling this pain? Like this pain's actually triggering me. So why is it triggering me? Well, I still have some pain inside of this same place that this man does.
True. When we witness the pains, and when pains trigger us, it's because there's room for empathy.
Right.
Either we have it on the spot, or we were willing to go discover it so we can match that empathy.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most fulfilling things is you get to watch other people and experience other people's pain, so you can empathize and feel the same pain in yourself. And I think when we've had the same pain, we empathize with them. When we haven't had it, then we explore that pain in us.
True. And that is the mission of Warrior Week. Like to continuously do that every fucking single month, sometimes twice a month. Next year we have over 15 Warrior Weeks lined up. That is a lot of 15 times 20, 30 guys. There's a lot of men coming inside of the game and experiencing this live. But we have a mission, which is taking the stories and the parables and sharing it here with you guys so that you don't necessarily have to come all the way there. And maybe that's the route for you one day. But as of right now, where you are, you're hearing this conversation and you become aware of the pain that may be in you. And our invitation to you, Coach Jesse and myself, is to give yourself permission to explore that further, that pain for you, so that you can be at a level of empathy. So if you got triggered by any conversation today, any pain that was shared today that triggered you and like brought curiosity, explore, because there will be more and more and more coming every single week. Jesse, I want to thank you for being on the show. We will continue delivering the message every week as we look into the pain of the pit. Jesse will be with me almost every week here as we continue to do this, as he and I have been through the darkest places with over 1,000 guys in the past 2 years, exploring and seeing and continue to see that. So, final words, Jesse?
So the final word is this. Like, whatever you fear losing, like there's a feeling attached to that you're afraid to fucking lose. And if you just looked into that deeper, you'll find the truth that needs to be told.
Beautiful. Gentlemen, have yourself a fantastic week. You can download the podcast at iTunes and also go on warriorweeknow.com to hear other episode pictures and additional content around these podcasts. And, of course, you can check out warriorweek.com if Warrior Week is a place for you to come and explore further a pain that you may currently have. Have yourself a great week.